Hey guys, it's Kip here from KDC Marketing, and in today's video I want to show you how you can use Wix CMS to create a review section like this one, because this is a very common use case for Wix CMS. So I'm going to show you how to create this and a couple of other cool things about Wix CMS. So the Wix CMS over here inside of Wix Studio, it's on the left hand side, it's the content management system. And that's what's powering this repeater. So this is a repeater right here inside of this section. And if I pull open the layers panel, you can see inside of here we have a repeater, and there's a bunch of items in here. And this repeater is tied to a testimonials data set. So I've created a data set that has these testimonials in here. And then if you click this load more button, then it will load more testimonials, which is pretty cool. So all I really did to do this was create the collection and set up the different details. I have a lot of videos on how to set up collections and connect everything, so I'm not going to show all the details, but let me just pull open this collection so you can see what it looks like in here. So I have the testimonials collection, and here's the back-end data that it's pulling. Very, very simple. We have a status, a name, location, testimonial, and then a couple of other things. So I have that here, and then this is what it looks like on the live site. So if someone comes here, they can look at these testimonials, they can click the load more button, and it's going to load and populate more testimonials dynamically. So I've done this on a couple of my client websites. Here's another example on the old classic Wix editor where you have the same thing. They have testimonials coming in, you load more, and more are going to load. And this is what it looks like on the back end of that. And same exact thing. You're still looking at the content management system inside of Wix Studio. So the thing that I love about this is that you only have to design this section in Wix Studio one time. And then because it's in a repeater, anytime I add a new item inside my collection, a new one will show up here as long as that item is set to visible status. So all I have is I have inside the item, I have elements that are not tied to the data set, and then I have elements that are. And you can tell which ones are connected to CMS by this connector. And then if I go over here and look, it shows me which data set and which field it's connected to inside of my data set. So then if I go down to this field, for example, the text is connected to a different name. And then this one, the text is connected to location. So if you look at these star icons, though, they're not connected to anything. Let me see if I can pull up in one of these items inside of my stack. They're not connected to anything here. They're connected to the data set because they're within the repeater, but they're not connected to anything. Same with this icon here. I don't think this icon is connected to anything inside the data set, but it is part of the data set because it's in the repeater. And then the load more button is one that I love to use. This is something I wanted to point out specifically for reviews, because a lot of times you only want to show a couple, maybe 3 to 6 reviews. And so you can add a button. That's what this is. This is the button element here, button. And you can connect it to a click action. And there's all these click actions in here the buttons have. And so you have the load more click action. And so what this will do is it will load more of these reviews every time it gets clicked. And so I have in my data settings, this is my data set, data settings, I have 6 items to load. And so it'll load 6 by default. And then if I click load more, it's going to load another 6 and another 6 and another 6 until it can load all of them. So that's all happening here inside of this website in real time based on the data that's in this section here. And the last thing that I wanted to show is just when you want to do new reviews, when you want to upload a set of new reviews, you can actually just import items through a CSV file. So it'll have you import content from a CSV file. So you just have to create a spreadsheet. I use Google Sheets, and then I just put in these same fields here that are in the collection. And then I put in the new reviews that I want, and then I upload this. I import it into the data set. So then it's in the CMS data set, and then it's pretty easy to maintain that way. So I love to use this feature for Google reviews. I think it's one of the best ways to do it, especially if you have clients, or if you're a business that gets a lot of Google reviews, because you only have to design this once and then you just keep importing CSV files when you get new ones, and you just have that load more button so you can keep adding reviews to it. It works really well whether it's Wix Studio like I'm showing here, Wix Studio, or whether it's classic Wix like you're seeing here. It can work for both, and both have pretty much the same setup besides the editor interface, which is pretty different. These editors are very different from each other, the classic editor and Wix Studio. But I just wanted to showcase this a bit more because those are the key steps. As I would design a section with a repeater, inside the repeater I'd create something like this inside of my items, and then I connect the fields that I would need to connect, like the review itself, the name, and then the load more button. This is the key one, and you have to make sure you set that in the dataset settings to load whatever you want. I usually do 6 to 3 items, and then I'll load more. And then when I have a new batch of reviews I want to upload, I just go into the dataset here, I go into more actions, I go to import items, I choose my file and I import it, and I just look it over one time and it's done. And then more reviews get into the website, and it's pretty seamless. So if you are wanting to learn more about Wix CMS, I have a whole playlist of CMS tutorials where I show you how to set up these connector fields and create collections and add fields to different elements inside of Wix Studio. And once you start using CMS, you learn a lot of things, and it becomes easier over time, but you never really go back to the old way of doing things, just because having dynamic content on the website is so nice and so much easier to manage if you do it correctly. So hope you found this video helpful and that you're seeing maybe one more possible use case for CMS. I love using it for testimonials, especially on the homepage. It makes it so easy to manage these things going forward. So that's what I have for today's video, and I will see you in the next video.